I'm talking about the things that you would do either after dinner or before bed. I'm Ronnie, and you're listening to Clean With Me, the podcast where I walk you through cleaning your house step by step. Thanks for joining me. In this episode, I'm going to talk you through a quick evening routine. Maybe you're listening to this after dinner, or maybe you're listening to this before bed, but there are certain things that you can do in the evening to set yourself up for a better day tomorrow, okay? And while you're gearing up for your cleaning session, maybe you want to put on a pair of flip-flops or slides in case there are crumbs or sticky spots in your kitchen floor. While you're just getting up, getting your shoes on, I will go over what we're going to work on. We're going to be washing your dishes, scrubbing out the sink. We're going to clear and wipe your countertops and stovetop. We're going to do a 5-minute pickup of your house. We're going to put away one load of clean laundry to kind of keep that laundry cycle going. And then we're going to talk about possibly laying out your clothes for tomorrow or laying out someone else's clothes for tomorrow. We'll spend a couple minutes at the end talking about that. But the first thing I want you to do, now that you've got your shoes on if you needed them, is to gather up any stray dishes from around the house. Maybe there's a coffee mug on a nightstand, or a bowl and a spoon on a coffee table, or a plate and a fork in someone's bedroom, or on a kitchen table or dining room table. I'm sure you have that rule where people are supposed to clear their dishes and silverware and rinse them off and at least place them in the sink if they're not supposed to put it completely into the dishwasher. I mean, some people have a system where they're putting things into the dishwasher throughout the day, running it at the end. Others want people to hand wash as they go. And then kind of that more lenient rule, if you're the primary person who does dishes, is to at least have them take the dishes to the sink, rinse them off, and leave them in the sink for you. Anyway, gather those dishes up and start washing them. And I realize that you may need to put away some clean dishes before you start washing. In the morning episode I did recently, and in a lot of episodes for that matter, I encourage you in the mornings to empty your drying rack and empty your dishwasher. That kind of separates putting away the clean, dry dishes from washing dishes so that you don't have kind of an overwhelming task to do at once. But let's face it, sometimes there are dishes in the drying rack, dishes in the dishwasher, and we need to put away those clean items first so that we can wash dishes. Another time that you can be emptying your drying rack and dishwasher is when you're cooking, because oftentimes there are waiting periods where you're preheating the oven or waiting for water to boil or waiting for something to brown on one side before you flip it over. It's best to stay in the kitchen so that you don't burn your food, or, you want to supervise what you're cooking when possible. Utilize that time where you're hanging out in the kitchen to kind of get ahead. Okay. But I realize you may be listening to this after dinner or later in the evening, and you didn't necessarily do that and you have clean stuff to put away. Quickly get that stuff put away when you're hand washing and you have an empty drying rack or pad. Some people put things out on a pad or towel, but you have an empty spot for the clean dishes. It goes a lot faster because you're not having to slow down and think about where to place that freshly washed dish. So let's get all the clean stuff put away and then start washing your dishes, whatever that means for you. Maybe you have some difficult items that you need to pre-rinse and fill up with hot water and liquid dish soap and get those soaking, like a pot or a pan or even a forgotten mug with a coffee ring in the bottom or whatever. Get any difficult items soaking and then start washing the easy stuff. That could mean pre-rinsing items and putting them into the dishwasher, or it could mean starting that first sink load where you're washing your glasses and silverware by hand. And then if the water gets dirty, so to speak, you drain that, refill the sink again. As needed, you're going to be changing the water when hand washing. And typically after the glasses and silverware, I move on to the plates and bowls. Although sometimes I leave the silverware just submerged for a little while I wash the plates and bowls if there's stuff kind of dried on the silverware. You want to work smarter, not harder. So you want to soak the things that need to be soaked while you're washing the easy items. And then you come back to the difficult items that were either sitting on the counter full of water or submerged. You want to end with those items. Okay. Maybe you're putting everything that fits into the dishwasher and then hand washing the rest, or maybe you are doing a few sink loads and changing the water periodically. And doing dishes in the evening can be a challenge. I get that. Like, a lot of times you're tired. Maybe you've been standing around a lot while cooking, and then you overindulge and you feel kind of full and you just want to plop down. I mean, it's okay to let your food settle before doing dishes, but just keep in mind, the sooner you do dishes, the easier it is to do them. If you just kind of force yourself to get up right after dinner and wash those dishes, it's going to be easier than if the stuff cools down more and dries on more. And just be working on your dishes while I talk. Oftentimes, I will transfer food from the skillet into a glass casserole dish that has a lid and use that as the serving dish and then also the storage container. And you might be thinking, what? We just eat it out of the pan so we don't dirty anything. My method's better. Okay. And the reason I say that is because when you transfer the food while it's still hot into the serving dish / storage container, which is one and the same, that allows you to wash that skillet or that pot, whatever you cook the food in, while the food is still hot. It's just going to be easier to wash the dishes while everything's still hot. It's going to come right off. This will make more sense if you routinely make enough food to have leftovers. We try to do that because we don't want to run out of food where somebody's still hungry, they go back for seconds and there's nothing left. So to prevent that, we're making enough food to have leftovers. And then it's always nice to either reheat all the same stuff and, have the exact same dinner the next day. Or if there's only a little bit of leftovers, maybe reheat it for lunch. Sometimes I put leftovers in a container, take it to work, microwave it on the days where I'm working at the school. Okay. Or sometimes we incorporate it into breakfast. I mean, there's nothing like heating up some enchiladas and then frying some eggs to plop on top and having that for breakfast. Anybody else? Anyway, my point is, if you do make large amounts of food and store the leftovers, figuring out a dish that will work as a serving dish and container for leftovers, and then doing that transfer while the food is still hot will make it so much easier. And especially if you dread scrubbing pots and pans or leaving things to soak, getting into the cycle where there's always something soaking. The serving dish method can be kind of a game changer. But I realize if there are just two of you and you're making small portions and you've just got it down to a science how much food to make and you're not really generating leftovers, maybe you just wait until after dinner to wash the pots and pans that are empty because you made the exact right amount of food. I get that, but either way, I really want you to try to get into the habit of doing your dishes soon after dinner. And maybe you do have the routine where you get the kids to bed and you're kind of a night owl and you clean the kitchen later. That's fine too. There might be more scrubbing involved, but that's fine too. what I really want you to do is get down to dish zero before going to bed. It is such a game changer, and I feel like a lot of you probably need to work on that because people in a state of overwhelm often wake up to a messy kitchen and dirty dishes. And it's such an important habit to change. Get out of the habit of not washing every single, or maybe you are washing every single dish every 24 hours. Maybe that was kind of your first baby step on your housekeeping journey, was to get down to dish zero every 24 hours. The next thing is getting it to where it's happening before you go to bed, because it's always better to have your dishes done before you go to bed than doing them the next morning. You don't want roaches, do you? And I'm not trying to sound preachy or anything. It's just my job to motivate you and give you some reasons behind what we're doing. Okay, the next thing I want you to do is clear and wipe down your counters. Maybe you left some seasonings out, or you have some scraps from, prepping, like you've got a cutting board and some vegetable ends and whatnot. We feed that stuff to the chickens. Do what you do with that kind of stuff. But I want you to clear off your countertops, okay? There could be packaging, food packaging. There could be seasoning that needs to be put away. There could be items that belong in a different room of the house. Maybe there's that one countertop or that kitchen island where people kind of walk in and plop things. Let's get that stuff put away. Basically, you want to get your countertops completely cleared off. And you don't want to store a lot on the countertops, but there are things you're going to have out. Your coffee maker, your toaster, your blender. It depends on, what you're into. But I want you to grab some spray once you've cleared it off. Spray down your countertops and stovetops. Scrub them. Sometimes you need to use a sponge with an abrasive side and do some scrubbing before you do just the wiping, okay? You might be using liquid dish soap and an abrasive sponge to clean your stovetop, your countertops, and scrub out your sink and the faucet and the area behind the faucet. Do that scrubbing. And then after that, you might want to just get your favorite cleaning spray and spray the surfaces and wipe them off. Okay, either with a clean damp cloth or paper towel, whatever you use. But I want you to shine up those countertops, the sink, and the stovetop. And I realize there are deeper cleaning tasks to be done in your kitchen, scrubbing your cabinets and things like that. But this is just a quick evening routine. You're tired. I get that. Your main cleaning session probably takes place at a different time of day. If not, you can listen to one of my whole house episodes at night if you're just a total night cleaner. By the way, those who support the show financially by becoming a paid subscriber unlock tons of whole house episodes. And you can do that through Apple Podcasts, which is the purple app on your iPhone or other Apple device. You can do that on Spotify. A lot of people like that because they're already listening to music on Spotify. That way they can listen to all their audio content in one place. Or you can access those bonus episodes on Patreon. For more information on how to subscribe to bonus content, you can also visit my website, cleanwithmepodcast.com. But if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, the option to unlock those subscription-only episodes is probably already being advertised to you. More episodes, more variety in episodes, longer episodes, etc. If your kitchen's floor is a mess, you might want to sweep or mop at this point, or you might just want to do a little bit of a spot treatment. Maybe you just need to sweep under the table where people ate, or next to the stove, or next to where you were using your cutting board, and do a little bit of spot sweeping and dust panning. There's going to be more time to sweep and mop later. But if there's an area with crumbs, quickly sweep that into a dustpan. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because this is not a deep cleaning session. It's just a routine for the evening to set you up for a successful day of cleaning tomorrow. I want you to wake up in a good mood with a presentable house and the time and energy to do some deep cleaning either in the morning, afternoon, or early evening tomorrow. But this is more of a late evening routine because I'm talking about the things that you would do either after dinner or before bed. So the next thing I want you to do is a quick 5-minute pickup. Now, maybe you already picked up your entryway and front room if it's your habit to kind of straighten up those outer areas, maybe before your spouse gets home or before you pick up the kids. We all have these self-imposed deadlines, these events that kind of punctuate our day. So it could be that you've already picked up those areas and you need to do the pickup somewhere else, like maybe your bedroom's out of control. But most likely there is some clutter in those outer areas, your front room, your entryway, maybe a family room toward the back of the house if you have 2 living areas, because people have been living in those areas all evening. So maybe even if you did straighten up your house before people started to get home, now it's getting cluttered again, and I don't want you to go to bed with a messy house. Obviously, doing the dishes is more important for sanitary reasons. You know, you don't want nocturnal bugs to start multiplying in your kitchen, okay? But the reason we want to tidy up the house before bed is to remove the visual clutter that's going to make you feel a little bit down and depressed if you see it the next morning. I'm trying to prevent that feeling. There's just such a wonderful feeling when you head to the kitchen for that morning beverage, whether it's coffee, tea, juice, and your house is generally picked up and your kitchen's under control. Dishes are done, surfaces are wiped down. It's such an amazing feeling, and it's going to help you stay ahead on your housework. So hopefully you're just going through your house right now, picking up, whether it's straightening your front entrance, living areas, hallways, clearing your couches, your end table, coffee table, or maybe picking up some laundry from a bathroom floor somewhere, a dirty towel or clothes someone dropped, or putting your shoes in the closet and picking up your own bedroom floor. The goal is just to rush through your house and remove that visual clutter so that you don't wake up to that the next day. And let's face it, the first room you wake up to is your bedroom. So don't forget to pick up your bedroom. Of course, if your bedroom is out of control and you've got more time and energy, listen to a bedroom cleaning episode after this. You don't have to scroll down very far to find an episode that's all about cleaning the bedroom. Once you're done picking up clutter, your bonus task, if you will, is putting away 1 load of clean laundry. Maybe earlier today you made your bed and you pulled a load out of the dryer and plopped it on your bed. You're going to want to fold and put away that 1 load of laundry before bed tonight. Or maybe you put it on the couch, or maybe you have a folding table. Wherever you keep clean laundry, maybe it's still in your dryer. This could be a time to fold and put away that laundry. Now, I realize you might do your laundry once or twice a week, and this isn't the day for it. If that's the case, just keep focusing on tidying up, okay? I realize that some of you need more time to pick up, and you've expressed that. Whether you're picking up after toddlers or pets or even your spouse, you might just need more time to pick up, okay? But for a lot of you, it only took a few minutes to pick up the house, and folding and putting away that load of laundry can help you stay on top of laundry. Because if you start a load in the morning and then you switch the load either at lunchtime or early evening into the dryer, that just leaves folding it and putting it away in the evening. So the evening is a great time to fold and put away one load, especially if you're kind of doing the one load a day. And one load a day doesn't necessarily mean 7 days a week. It could be 4 or 5 days a week. But if you do one load of laundry from start to finish on most days, you're not going to be overwhelmed with Mount wash more or Mount fold more. So keep working on either picking up or putting away clean laundry. While you're finishing up, I wanted to mention laying out clothes for the next day. This is not always needed. If you're the type of person whose wardrobe is well organized, like you have your clothes in the correct drawers, you've got things hanging up, and it's easy for you to open your drawers and open your closet and get dressed in the morning, this might not be for you. But if you find yourself scrambling and you have to be somewhere in the morning, whether it's getting kids to school or getting yourself to work or helping somebody else get ready for work, if your mornings are stressful and sometimes finding something to wear or finding something for your kid to wear is slowing you down, please consider laying out clothes the night before. I've talked about this in another episode, but sometimes for kids, it can be fun to have them clean their room and then assemble a person on the floor out of the clothing, like, the shirt, pants, socks, kind of assemble this fake man, if you will, on the floor. And it's just kind of a fun thing for young children, but older kids might just set some folded clothes on a chair. If they seem to experience decision fatigue in the morning, and, or you tell them to make sure they do their laundry and then they don't. And then in the morning, well, I thought I'd have something to wear, but I don't, and I haven't done my laundry. You can eliminate all that by having them lay out their clothes. Okay. So that might apply to somebody. And also when I used to work out in the morning, I like to be able to open my eyes and see my workout clothes just ready, like within my line of vision, because then there was just something psychological where I told myself, I really just need to wash my face, brush my teeth, put my hair in a ponytail, and then put on those clothes. They're already there. I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear or hunt anything down. The outfit's ready. And that was kind of motivating for me. So there are a lot of reasons to lay your clothes out the night before. Another situation was when my kids were little and I had 5 kids living with me at a time. And it was one was a baby, one was a toddler. I was nursing, all the things. Saturday nights, I laid out all the clothes for church, and that made that, go a little more smoothly. Anyway, I hope you got a lot done during this episode. There will be another bonus episode coming out soon, but the reason I skipped one, I've been traveling. My son just graduated from Marine boot camp, so we went down to Southern California for family day and his graduation. It was an exciting time. And then I was going to make a bonus episode this morning, but I was helping my daughter move into her new apartment. And then we get there thinking it's move-in ready. Someone comes to the door and says that they still have to paint. So then we had to come back here, and I had my little grandbabies here, and I wasn't going to record with kids chattering in the background. Just like you, I've got a lot on my plate, but there will be a new bonus episode coming out soon. Thank you for your patience regarding that. Special thanks to my financial supporters, but even just listening to the show helps me. I appreciate each and every one of you, and as always, happy cleaning. I'll talk to you soon.